Alright, what's up guys? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Kilo 141 in Call of Duty Warzone. We're going to be going over some of the attachments as well as giving you guys the best overall class setup that I 100% recommend you guys to try. The one thing I learned when testing this weapon is the recoil is amazing. The title you guys see where it says no recoil, the Kilo really actually has no recoil. There's a cap on it. I'll showcase a little clip on the screen now of the gun with a 100-round drum shooting every single bullet. You guys can see it literally has no recoil. That's obviously the best thing about this weapon, as well as it has an excellent range, probably the highest range out of all the assault rifles at that first damage drop, which was one of the other things that makes it excellent. We're going to be talking about the barrels, some of the grips. Obviously the grips not as big a factor with the fact that it already has no recoil. Some attachments to 100% avoid because there are two attachments I tried and I found useless on this gun. And then obviously the best class setup. I tried a bunch of different class setups, 3 to 4 different class setups, and I found one to basically give me the best. You are going to have a class that has literally 0 negatives. Every single attachment on the gun gives nothing but positives, which is extremely rare and very hard to find. And I don't really know how to explain this class setup because it's so good that the gun literally has all positives. There's no negatives at all with this class setup, so it's definitely probably the best class setup, one of the best class setups in all of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So like I said, we're talking about the overall barrels because that's one of the biggest things that people probably want to know about with the long barrel. Obviously this has a silent barrel on it, and the shorter barrel is actually pretty good. So the first most important thing to talk about is the positives and the negatives. Obviously the Kilo 141 has a lot of positives. It has a very good iron sight as far as, like I said, the base range, that first damage drop range. It has the most out of every single assault rifle, which is what makes it excellent. As I said, it also has no recoil, and a lot of the barrels are very, very good. Some of the best barrels in all of the game. The Prowler barrel actually gives the most range increase out of every single long barrel that is in the game. So that is obviously an excellent thing about it, as well as the idle sway is very good. So your overall accuracy with this class setup is excellent. The biggest thing that counters that kind of is the actual percentage of your accuracy is only 21% for me personally, which is the lowest out of every gun. I have 28% with the SCAR and about 24-25 with the M4 and Grau. So it's really weird that the accuracy is so good but the percentage is so low. And the other really good thing I found after playing with it for like 3 hours in a row is at long range, very similar to the Grau, it's extremely easy to hit your shots, and if you hit them, they pretty much die. So the one thing I did want to make a note of is, as far as the recoil, it's very hard to understand it and actually watch while you're shooting because it has a randomness pattern. It kicks left to right a lot. I tried to put the aim walking steadiness, which is the granulated and the tack laser, stack them together, and actually did nothing at all to help with that steadiness. So obviously I don't recommend either of those attachments. But as far as the overall time to kill, there's two things that is where the gun is excellent. Like I said, at that max damage range, which is 2 different ranges, it's going to kill faster than the RAM, the M4, and the Grau, which is where the ranges drop of those 3 weapons. So 30% of your ranges out of the first 90 meters, it has the fastest time to kill, which is what makes it an excellent weapon. The aim down sight is very fast. Mobility a little bit on the low end, but like I said, the class setup we're doing is stacking all these attachments together to give you the best class setup possible. So I want to tell you guys the class setup first, and then we're going to go over the attachments. You guys will see why I picked it. So the class setup I ended up finding is to be the best overall class setup is using the Whisper barrel, which is obviously going to give you a little more range. The rubberized grip, which is going to help your vertical recoil. I used a 50-round mag because it only makes my movement speed 1% slower. Obviously slap the no stock on there because it increases your mobility by a lot. Obviously the recoil pattern really has no effect, so adding no stock once again has no effect on the recoil. And I put the commando on there because the side to side is very bad with this gun, probably the worst out of every gun in the game. The commando obviously counters that. So when you take the negative of the rubberized, which is the aiming stability, the commando comes with that, so you basically get an increase to your overall recoil. You also get an increase to your stabilization. The Whisper barrel only has a 5% slower aim down sight time, which is countered by the no stock attachment. So you get a faster aim down sight time, a faster movement speed, more range, and increase to 2 different recoil patterns. And there's no negatives, as simple it is. So obviously your movement speed is about 1% faster, which is definitely going to help out a lot in order to get the fastest movement speed. Even the best class that I tried around with the Grau was still 95%, so this had the fastest movement speed out of all the class setups I've made. So as far as talking about the actual barrels and the attachments you guys want to know, first thing to tell you guys up front, 2 barrels to completely avoid. Number one is the stipple grip. Couldn't tell me times I see somebody running stipple grip and they don't know it actually really does nothing unless you stack it with like the no stock attachment. Most people usually don't. So 100% avoid this. The granulated grip tape, like I said, has the aim walking steadiness and your overall idle sway gets increased. It already has excellent, and the aim walking steadiness gets no bonus, so avoid that. As far as the barrels, the SOCOM barrel is an excellent barrel due to the fact that you get a 30% more range, only a 15% slower ADS, and that's it. There's no slower movement speed and basically nothing else. You also obviously get help with your recoil, so you basically get a recoil increase and a range increase for only a slower aim down sight time, which is obviously countered by that no stock. So it's an excellent attachment. The Whisper barrel is only going to be a 5% slower ADS. You won't even notice it, and you get 25% more range. So I 100% recommend this barrel. And then the Prowler barrel is going to be 45% more range, which is an excellent increase to a gun that already has the best range. The negatives are very, very bad though. You're getting a 25% slower aim down sight time, which is a very massive chunk to this gun. And then you get a 4% slower movement speed. So you take a huge hit on both of those for a lot more range. In my opinion, if you compare that to the other barrels, which basically give you more range for a little bit of a negative, I definitely would think it's the third worst barrel, but with it, your range is obviously going to be the highest out of every AR in the game. So it's definitely an excellent attachment to run. But as far as talking about the overall tack laser, the CQC, the tack laser I 100% recommend. It's going to make your aim down sight about 15% faster, which is going to help out a lot, and obviously make your idle sway 0. So obviously no negatives. Definitely an excellent attachment to stack on there. Maybe run the tack laser over the rubberized, and then the no stock, obviously 4% faster movement, 15% faster aim down sight time, and obviously gives you a little bit worse recoil on a gun that already has none. So it's definitely a excellent attachment to run. And then as far as talking about the extended mags, the last attachment to talk about, the 50 round mag only gives you 1% worse movement speed, which is very minimal at all. You won't even notice it. 60 round mag, 3% slower, which is normal. And then the 100 round mag is going to give you a 10% slower aim down sight time and a 8% slower movement. At the point of this, you're running 8% slower movement. You're better off just using the PKM at this point. It's going to kill faster and have more range. So I don't recommend running the 100 round mag at all. But that's pretty much it for today's video. You know, if you guys learn anything new, you guys want to try the Kilo, I definitely think it's an excellent weapon. I had a lot of fun using it. I would definitely say it's in my top 3 ARs, right there with the M4 and the Grau. As far as the overall accuracy, it's definitely very good. Like I said, at the long range, I was able to hit a lot of my shots and get a lot of kills with this gun. So if you guys are new to the video, you guys have not subscribed, I would greatly appreciate it as well. If you guys do enjoy, you want to leave a like. And if you guys have not bought yourself a scuff or GFUEL, you guys plan on doing it, make sure you guys use code Trapgod on your purchase. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.